What's up, y'all? Happy Tuesday. Another Tuesday Talks with your man Keenan. Walking through the neighborhood, just strolling. Oh, we're in December already. Can you believe it? Time has been flying. It's actually sped up. I don't know about y'all, but it just feels like it's going 100 miles an hour nowadays. But yeah, guys, something that's been on my mind for a little bit. Just kind of like in my studies and reading, mostly the scriptures. If you're into that. But the difference between knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. So let's break down knowledge. From my layman's terms, I feel that knowledge is just information, awareness, being aware of a thing, a person, place, or thing, or events. Like, it's just data, essentially. Understanding is having the ability to break down that knowledge and use it. Okay? And I feel like our education system that we have, at least in America, I don't know how the way it is. Well, I know education is probably a lot better than what we get here in the States, just my personal opinion. But I feel like a lot of us stopped at just learned knowledge. So just gathering a bunch of just facts and figures, but not really knowing what to do with it, because we live in the information age, right? Like, we have more knowledge at our fingertips than any time in history. But yet, I feel like this era in time, 21st century, we're the most ignorant because we have so much knowledge, information. But very few of us have understanding. And this is something that I struggle with too. It's like, there's so many things that I know, pointless things that I've learned in school, but I don't necessarily understand where it all fits. You see, when you are a scientist or an engineer, or you're in the higher maths, right? You learn the basics, but there has to be times things build, is what I'm saying. So it's like, if you're in your higher calculuses, right, you need to know algebra to be able to do complex equations. In order to do algebra, you need to know how to do multiplication, division, dividing, all that good stuff. So everything builds. So I think like in more specialized fields, like especially more technical fields, you actually learn how to use the knowledge you have, and you actually have to understand how that knowledge works into whatever project that you're doing. So, knowledge, information, data, understanding is being able to put that together, actually know the root of why things are and how they work. Number 3 is wisdom. And wisdom is a combination of knowledge and understanding, but you are applying that data, you're applying all of that into real life, into action. You're putting that data into action. Wisdom is applied knowledge and understanding. A lot of people say, which is a popular coined term, knowledge is power. I think that's false. Wisdom is power, which is applied knowledge. So how do we get wisdom? Well, I just said application, right? But another word for application is experience. Real life experience. How do you gain experience? By getting out in the field and taking action. It's that simple. But you'd be surprised at how many of us don't go out and gather these experiences. Because when we do, we know what works and what doesn't work. So when we go out and try things, we get new data to which we can go back to the drawing board and recalculate, refine, and try again for a better result. I think that's pretty much what life is. That's what our experience is just trying things until we succeed, right? There are those of us who try and those of us who don't. There's not really any in between. Those who keep trying consistently, persistently, over a long period of time will gain success. It just maps out like that. So getting wisdom, one of my favorite figures in the Bible is King Solomon. He was known as the wisest man that ever lived. When God himself appeared to Solomon in a dream, and instead of riches, glory, and honor, Solomon asked for wisdom to judge and rule his people, rule God's people, the children of Israel. So God was pleased with Solomon and not only granted him wisdom, but granted him riches, glory, and honor. No other king has been as rich and prosperous as Solomon. So it makes me think, like, when God gave Solomon wisdom, did his mind just like open up and suddenly he was wise? I don't really think so. Because what I just said is that wisdom is applied knowledge, so it's experience, right? So I believe that God gave Solomon a series of experiences that made him wise. I'm gonna go this way. That made him wise. You see, because before you become wise, you probably have to be a fool first. You have to make mistakes. It sounds counterintuitive, but it makes sense. Like, all experience is good experience. It doesn't matter good or bad, experience is experience. You turn left, you fell in a ditch. Next time you go in that spot, you turn right. You're wiser because of that fall, right? So it makes me think, did King Solomon make mistakes that in turn made him wiser? What were the points? I don't know if you guys have read, I think it was in 2 Kings, but when the dispute between the two women, both had a baby. One fell asleep on their baby, suffocating the baby to death, and the other one's baby lived. And so what happened is the woman who killed her baby on accident went and stole the other lady's baby and went before Solomon and said, this is my child. And of course, it wasn't her child. And there was a dispute. And then Solomon called the dispute. He dissipated the dispute. I can't even talk. By saying, divide the child in half. Where's the sword? Divide the child in half. And each of you could take a half of the child. And the real mother said and pleaded with the king, saying, no, let the child live. She can have it. And so Solomon automatically knew that the woman who pleaded for the child's life was the real mother. And after that one feat, everyone was like, oh, dang, man, how did he come up with that on the fly? And as a Christian, if you read over these stories in the Bible, that's one example of many stories. I encourage you guys to read the Bible if you haven't, Christian or not. It's the most fascinating book ever put together. But anyway, it's a little plug. For Solomon to be wise and shrewd in that moment, because there's lots of events that we don't have in the scriptures that probably happened before we got that famous wise scenario, right? What did Solomon go through, what I wonder in my head, to get to that moment? Because he had to have made decisions that weren't necessarily right, but he learned from, that built him up to that point of making such a shrewd decision in a very tricky situation. That's just speculation because we don't have everything, but makes me think. Or God could have made him wise 100%, right on the bat after the dream. But God is God. He can do whatever he wants. But I'm saying that to say this. You have to get out there. We, not just you, me, we have to get out there and just try. Take action. It's okay to mess up. Whether it's a good result or a bad result, it's experience. And all experiences work out to teach us something. There's nothing lost for getting out there, giving it your best, giving it your shot. Because you're all the wiser from getting out in the field and trying. Wisdom is not built in a day. So when you pray to God and ask Him for wisdom, expect experiences, expect different scenarios, tough scenarios that you'll probably mess up. I'll be praying, Lord, give me more wisdom, make me wise like Solomon, right? You want to pray like these big, like grandiose prayers, and God's like, all right, do you know what you're praying for? You know what you're asking for? Here's a bad financial situation. The economy's down. What are you going to do? Your girlfriend cheated on you. Your boyfriend cheated on you. How are you going to handle that? Someone in your family has a terminal illness. Not saying bad things come from God, but God allows things to happen to us. He allows us to go through the fire to mold us and shape us into the vessel that He has created us to be. And we come out gold, tested through these trials, through these fires. We come out wiser. We come out strong. So we are prepared. When we get to the place where God has for us, we are able to stay there and thrive. We're battle tested. We are ready to reign over the assignment that He's given us to fulfill on this earth. So, wisdom, applied knowledge, life experience, knowledge and understanding, all these things work together. All of them complete each other. It's like the Holy Trinity, I feel like. Knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. You can't have one without the other. So my friends, get wisdom. Get understanding. Gain knowledge. And with that, I bid you adieu. This is Tuesday Talks with your man, Keenan Stone. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, all the good stuff. I do my Monday messages every Monday. Until next time, be blessed.